The Blue Jays fire sale has begun. Is T.O. burning all its bridges by sending the roster up in smoke? And it's reunion night in the NHL. Will it be more Page and Plant or David Lee and Van Halen? And the NHL has turned into the Learning Channel. Hey, look, there's a wild dog beating on a defenseless turtle. Guests today are coming out fighting Jody Holden, Joey Duplantis, Tre Smith, and Norma Wick. Bring it on.
Off the Record with Michael Landsberg is brought to you by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks, good friends, see you tonight.
Well, let me just talk to you for a second. Bring it on, Wick. We got a great show. I got nothing else to say but to introduce to you these amazing guests. He was in the Olympics, and I think he will be again. One of the greatest beach volleyball players in this country's history, my good friend, Jody Holden. Nice to see you, Jody.
Good to be back.
You know what? I gave you the business, and yeah, there's some real heat between us, but I think you're one of the best broadcasters in this country. Host of WTSN Connect's Norma Wick.
Thank you.
Great to welcome this man to the show for the first time. He'll tell us how he became a pro caddy on the PGA Tour later on in the show. Good Brampton boy, Joey Duplantis. Nice to see you, Joey. And Tre Smith, actor, and you know him from The Loft and The Lofters. Great to welcome you back to the show. You did such a good kick-ass time last time. Kicked the woman beside you. All right, let's go. Depending on how you look at it, you could say the Ducks-Flames game was either the best thing that hockey has to offer or the worst. If I play Joe Columnist for a minute, I'd say it's a black eye for the game. If I play Albertan, I'd say that's frontier justice and go Stockwell. Is hockey better off or worse off with a dark side that includes fighting and Viking lawlessness? And is this, for lack of really a better word, entertainment? What do you think?
Well, I don't think, well, definitely instigators uplift a team, and there's no doubt about that. But I'm wondering when it becomes dangerous. In the case of Berube, when he attacks Anaheim's goalie, I'm wondering what Vernon is thinking, because he knows there's retaliation. It's going to happen.
This is becoming like rollerball, for heaven's sake. I mean, why just drop the gloves? Let's not play with gloves or helmets. Let's just go out there and pound each other. It's boring, predictable, and it's like contrived suspense.
There we go. Let's do it then. Let's stop playing hockey. Let's go see a fight, and maybe a hockey game will break out.
Yeah, you heard the actual people in the stands that night. It was one of the best games they saw all year. Everyone loves the fighting aspect of it, as long as they're not like hitting each other in the head with sticks.
Those are the same people that love the WWF, though. I mean, is that where sports is headed now? I mean, before you used to have rivalries based on competition between teams. Now it's hatred for one another based on cheap shots and injuries and retribution for past grievances.
Well, I agree with that aspect 100%, but let's face it, it does sell. It's selling really well with the fans in the stands.
Would you rather see Wayne Gretzky get pummeled in the head, or would you rather see him park behind the net? And
yes, I'm waiting for that day.
You're not a hockey fan.
No, but
you're a fight fan.
No. Back in the day when Wayne Gretzky, we were going for the cup, and who did he slash? Gilmore, or he cut Gilmore wide open.
I think it was Wendell, but okay.
Or was it Wendell Clark?
Yeah,
I don't remember. And I was like, oh my God, kill him! You know what I mean? And they protected him like the wimp he is.
I mean, that's the real hockey that we grew up to love and adore. And I agree with your point that you know, the violence is getting a little out of hand as long as it's not pre-staged.
It's
not. I mean, like the
WWF. Was that not whole incident in Calgary pre-staged? You saw the coach not at Berube. It's like you take the fit. You know, I mean, that was a clear signal, like it's on.
Okay, well, I mean, you got to look at it this way. Their team's down. You know, the audience is going to sleep.
So
their fans are going to sleep.
Beat them.
Well, hey, sure. If you can't beat them, at least wake up your fans and keep it interesting for them, even if you're going to lose the game.
Yeah. It hasn't hurt the Flames since the fight happened.
They won one game.
They've improved. Well, they've only played one game.
Okay, so let's jump on that, because you pointed out they played last night. The Flames did. They beat the Detroit Red Wings. The Flames were a team that started the season brilliantly, but they had really been sliding before this. And Mike Vernon, their goaltender, who took the hardest shot of all, said the guys stuck up for one another. It was outstanding, and that's what we need. We're in a bit of a slump here, and little things like this can only help a team. Can't you say that it galvanizes a team when that happens? And can't you say, for better or for worse, this is a hockey strategy?
I think what galvanized them was the fact that there were so many suspensions, and Calgary was undermanned, which meant every guy went out knowing that he was going to have to work a little bit harder and pull a little more weight.
It's all about strategy. It's all about strategy. No matter if you're playing golf, you have to use strategy. If you're playing beach volleyball and you hit one a little hard, right at his head just to psych him out, it's all about strategy. It's all about, at the end of the day, getting the W for win.
When you go up to spike the ball, is it okay for someone to give you a shot to the solar plexus under the net? Would that make it more exciting?
To be quite honest, you have to do what it takes. You know, you're playing for dollars. You're playing to keep your position on that team and to keep your standings.
But at what point does it stop being a sport and just become a spectacle like the WWF?
It's a fine line. It's a fine line, and it has happened in beach volleyball.
I mean, don't people pay to see skill in addition to rivalries and stuff? I mean, where's the skill?
Absolutely. There's some people out there that love the sports aspect for the skill level, and there's some people that love the entertainment value.
Let me ask you this, though, because we're talking about strategy, and there's no question that Greg Gilbert, the coach of the Calgary Flames, used this as a strategy. He put the guys on the ice at the end. He put Berube on the ice at the end, and that's why he got suspended. Is it fair to hold a coach accountable for what happened, to put this guy on the ice at the very end, knowing that he's going to drop his gloves and pound the crap out of Jeff Friesen, a guy who doesn't want to fight? Now, there's two different issues there. Let's take the coaching, the first one. Is it fair to look at the coach and say you're responsible?
Absolutely. He made the call. His teams are following his orders.
That's the fine line you were talking about, the referees and the powers that be that suspend you afterwards. This is where the line gets drawn. If you go too far, you know you're going to get reprimanded. Well, and that's where the fine line is with the powers that be.
You got to remember, they were lucky, too, that nothing happened, no incident happened that threatened anybody's career from the skirmish. And obviously, if that had happened, then it would have been much more serious. Question to be asked if the coach really is responsible.
Well, you can hold the coach responsible. Let's face it. Do you think the coach really cares? He's going to get a $15,000 suspension or whatever the fine is, right? Well, he doesn't care. He's going to keep his job, hopefully spark some interest and some new excitement within his players, which is the ideal goal.
So then truly, if you want to clean it up, and I'm not sure the NHL wants to clean it up. I think probably Norm is the only one who wants to clean it up. But if you want to do that, you've got to suspend the coach substantially more than 2 games to say, hey, we hold you accountable.
Now, if you went back in time before the fight and before when he sent the players out, would he change his mind now that seeing he would have been suspended 2 games by doing this?
What happens to your fans of the future, though? I mean, we always talk about expecting athletes to be role models. What does that do to your younger audience? Do you want to take your kids to games where guys are pounding on each other because things aren't going their way? Is that how you resolve conflict?
Are you kidding me? I played hockey 13 years, and when I was younger, there was more fights in the stand with the dads than there were the kids. And they were telling each other to go out there and beat the crap out of each other. That's what it is. Hockey is violence, and that's one of the good aspects of the game. It's a good, hard-hitting game, and if you don't like the hard hits, get out of the ice rink, wussy.
The violence is just, that's an offshoot of it, but there would be no hockey if there were no skill. You know, hockey wasn't made on the backs of the Ty Domies of the world. It was made on the backs of the skill players.
Just waiting for the pause there so I can jump in. We got to go to break. Here's our web poll question. With the Blue Jays trading Koch and Gonzalez already, you know that Mondesi and Stewart and maybe Carpenter are on their way. We ask you, that's right, you sitting at home, watching on your couch, in the gym, having dinner, whatever it is, we want to know, do you think you can make the 2002 Toronto Blue Jays? And if you do, forward us your answer and your resume, also outlining your salary expectations. And if you're thinking league minimum, we'll get it to the Blue Jays. We'll ask these folks what they think of that situation when OTR returns. Stay with us.
Off the Record with Michael Landsberg is brought to you by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks, good friends, see you tonight.
The house tap for a demonstration. That's what I'm talking about, Fred. We're taking it back.
Go back to the essence. What we're gonna do right here. Take it back to the basics. Full of members.
You know the Blue Jays are going to tell everyone. The 2002 Toronto Blue Jays, bunch of new fresh faces, will hustle, they'll slide, they will get dirty. What they're not telling you is the fact that the 2002 Toronto Blue Jays have no chance to win. I mean, they have no chance to win. They've already traded Koch and Gonzalez. You know that they're going to trade Mondesi, probably Homer Bush, Shannon Stewart, and maybe others. But you also know that this is a business, and they lost $52 million last year. My question for you guys, is it wrong for the Blue Jays to hold the fire sale that they're holding, and should fans be now changing their expectations, which in the past has been, please win?
Yes, I think it's wrong for them to do that. I think if you're going to venture into a business, a business proposition like the Blue Jays or whatever, and if you lose money, you lose money. If you play the stock market, you win, you lose, sometimes that's just what happens. But you're there to please the fans, and with no fans, you don't have any team.
Well, see, that's exactly it, whether you have the cojones or not, and I'm sorry for using that terminology, but, you know, like, when a team goes into, or a franchise enters into this industry, you know, you got to put the money up front if you want to have a winning franchise, and that's what sells seats in the future years.
Exactly, 100%.
Well, you know, we all know how it worked for the other team that was really, really good at developing its young talent, and then when they got good, they played somewhere else, and look where the Montreal Expos are now.
So what's your point?
I'm saying that it's, you know, it doesn't bode well for the future.
But how many times can you...
So how do you fix it? Okay, let's try to be fair. Because, I mean, there are people in the media who will say they're wrong to cut payroll. Others will say they shouldn't do. But what should this team do? Knowing the fact that they lost all that money last year, but also knowing the fact that the fans are probably going to run. Maybe the answer is... I'm sorry, go ahead, Joey.
Number one, they haven't explained to the fans exactly what they're doing yet. All they've been doing is just getting rid of their big-name players. And that's just... you can look right to Montreal as a recipe for disaster on getting rid of big-name players, getting rid of that type of salary, and then the fans start to lose support. If they just explain, well, we're trying to make a youth movement. But they haven't said that. And
they're throwing all the good china off the Titanic.
What they're doing is they're getting rid of all their high-paid players, so next year they can recoup their loss and then try and rebuild a team. But how many times can you rebuild a team before the fans say, you know what? That's all I want from you. No more.
And that's what I'm thinking is going to happen all across Major League Baseball, except for in New York, which brings us to the New York Yankees, who, by the way, Jason Giambi is having his physical today, and if he passes the physical, and we'll assume he will, I mean, it's a baseball physical, guys like Mo Vaughn pass it, right?
Does his pupils dilate?
Exactly. Does he have less than 50% body fat? You're in. So let me ask you this. Can you hold Steinbrenner accountable? Because he's saying basically to the rest of Major League Baseball, screw all of you. I got money to spend and I'm going to spend it.
You got to applaud him for it. He's got, you know, he's got those cojones I was talking about. How many years did the Toronto Maple Leaf fans criticize Ballard and Fletcher? You know, like, why do we, every year the seats are completely sold out, right? Toronto doesn't care about seat sales, obviously.
It has nothing to do with it, though. It's money. It's money.
Yeah. And you have to have the cojones to put that big money out and bet on the big deal. It's a difference between a $100 hand at blackjack and a $10 hand.
But Ballard and Fletcher didn't worry about money because they always had the exact same sellout every single year, right? But they want that. Do they want that winning franchise or not? Obviously,
exactly, that's it.
You know, they just didn't go for it.
But doesn't Steinbrenner have to establish some time? And this is not what free trade is built on. And to some extent, it enters into the
free trade in Canada. That's a joke.
Okay. Well, how about collusion? Because it kind of touches on that. But doesn't Steinbrenner kind of have to embrace the game and say, you know what?
He doesn't have to do it yet.
Well, you know what? Because the game's interest and his interest sometime are going to be linked. And is he going to kill the golden goose if he says, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to buy everyone, and I'm going to win everything?
Yeah, but you know what? My argument is, too, and that's why I hate these dynasties, is that I think when you stack the deck in your own favor, you diminish your accomplishments. It's not... How gratifying is winning when you've stacked the deck in your favor?
Whoa. That's like saying if you're a heavyweight boxer and you retire undefeated. What do you mean? If you can make yourself the strongest, best team or strongest, best person you can, you do it. And everyone else is just whining because they can't achieve what you have.
Yeah, I'm sure Steinbrenner's an egocentric maniac, too. I'm sure it's all about the win for him. He feels powerful. What a man about these days.
I mean, we're fighting a losing battle in Canada here anyways. I mean, look at our lagging dollar. It's ridiculous that we have to pay, we have to pay, like, our sports players, like, in American funds. And
but the reason that we're losing teams in sports are suffering because there's no parity anymore. How can you enjoy something that has no parity?
Shakespeare, this is sports.
Look, no. I don't understand what you're saying. You don't want competition?
Well, yeah,
you don't want competition?
Well, yeah, but I also want violence and fights and
yeah, but she makes a good point.
Well,
do you want competition? If you got competition, guys like Steinbrenner are going to have to accept maybe a salary cap, which says we all spend roughly the same thing.
There were teams competitive with the New York Yankees last year. I don't think they have to change exactly what they're doing yet.
Okay, let's go to break. Sorry, Trey, let me cut you off.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah. Norma wanted to cut you off, but maybe it was with a different sort of connotation. Back with more OTR in a moment.
Off the Record with Michael Landsberg is brought to you by Coke. Enjoy. And by Edge Pro Gel. Save your skin.
believe he came.
You know, we have had such interesting debate on the show about Michael Jordan. Should he come back? Should he not have come back? Does it tarnish his reputation? What I think is really interesting is that Doug Collins, the coach of the Wizards, said today, this morning, that Jordan has not practiced with the team this year. He says his body won't allow it. Now, at 38 years of age and with more mileage on him than Kathleen Turner, that's not a big surprise. But let me ask you this. If a guy can't handle the bare minimum for the game, which in the NBA is practice, can we say he shouldn't be there at all?
Yes, I don't think the teammates care. I don't think the teammates care that he's not going in and practice.
Oh, they do 100%
because every time he's on the court. They have no respect for him.
Well, I think
they don't have respect for Michael Jordan.
I bet your respect for Michael Jordan is fading every single day.
What bothers them is that they're sitting on the bench right now during games while Michael takes their spot on the floor, and he's not practicing with the team.
He's been playing poorly, and I'm sure they're upset he's not going to practice and he's playing poorly. But he's still Michael Jordan.
And he still shouldn't be playing the game anymore. He went out on the top. Hold on. Let me finish. He went out at the top. Now he's coming back at the bottom, and he's going to go out even lower. And
other players have come back.
Yeah, why? That's not because he's taking it to the net every time. It's because they're feeding it to him. He's standing under the net, and they're feeding him points.
Michael Jordan earned the right to come back and play.
Yeah, because he bought, or he's like...
No, because he's better than most guys out there on a bad day. So, you know, I think he earned the right to come back. I don't agree with
How are those bad guys going to get better unless they're getting time on the court that he's taking away that he should?
Well, they're getting it during practice, apparently.
If any person in the world...
Sorry,
if anybody in the world still thinks they can play basketball, it would be Michael Jordan, and still come back and think he can be able to do it, if anybody knows.
So what you're saying is if anyone can delude themselves, it's Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Because he started from a greater level than anyone else. But still, I mean, this is the age-old question. How many guys in pro sports really know when the time is ticked down? Do they really know when it's time to give it up? And I think Jordan's an example. Sorry, Norma, can I just finish my question?
Sure.
Thank you. I'm done.
Greedy.
I'm done.
How do you hockey guys here don't seem to care that Mario Lemieux sits out games? Mario Lemieux plays when he feels like it.
Yeah, but when he does play, he goes to the max every time.
Oh, and Jordan doesn't when he's on the floor?
He goes to the max until his knees creak and give out.
You know, he's setting the standard.
Hard? He's on the ice. Does that mean he's practicing hard?
Doesn't matter. He's on the ice. He's on the ice, and he is the boss. You know, he's the owner, whatever. But he's still on the ice. He's setting the example for the other players,
He's an excellent team leader. I don't know if Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan is an amazing inspiration for that team. He's a good team leader, but he can do it from the sidelines. You know what I mean?
No, not necessarily, though. I mean, great players don't necessarily make great coaches.
And
he's contributing in the way that he thinks he can.
We all love to see him play every single night. I'll still tune in to watch Michael Jordan shoot his 60 shots and miss 40 of them.
I don't think there's any doubt that he's capable of being a good leader, too.
And he is, as you guys have all alluded to, he leads the league in missed shots. Little bit different than when he played the last time.
It's nice to see someone give Allen Iverson a run for his money.
Well, okay, you know what? You brought the name up. You entered into the record book. Let me ask you this. Allen Iverson is so beat up. Allen Iverson has more skill, I think, right now than anyone in the game. He could certainly use to not practice. Allen Iverson would certainly be fresher in the playoffs next year for a run if he didn't practice. If it's good for Jordan, why isn't it good for Iverson?
Well, I'm sure that there's a lot of games. These guys don't practice every day. He's sitting on the bench right now with a sore thumb, you know, so he doesn't practice every day.
But when he missed practice, you remember he did miss practice for a time, and people called him a suck and said, you know what, you got to get in there. And I just think there's a huge double standard here.
Well, did he miss it because he just didn't bother showing up? Because he did go through a period where he was a bit of a renegade, and he was clearly a discipline problem. It wasn't that he was hurt. It was just, you know, I'm going to do what I feel like doing.
I'll give you the inside scoop, like the mentality of an athlete, too. There's two things that kill us. One is when you're hurt and you actually physically have to sit out, right? You feel terrible because you can't contribute to the team. Number two, when the teammates start to lose respect for you because is he really hurt? Can he come back? Is he afraid to come back? Is he nervous? Whatever. You know, it just eats you up inside.
This happens in volleyball a lot.
It happens in every sport, but in volleyball a lot.
It happens in life.
All right.
I think you got to keep playing to maintain your freshness in your sport. You can't just look at Michael Jordan took 3 years off. I don't see him being too fresh starting out this season. But
nice job. This is a great show today. Let us know your thoughts. Got a couple of emails. These came in just moments ago. Michael, watching Gretzky may have been like watching art, but don't forget, he had Semenko, McSorley, and Langdon so he could do his thing. I agree with that, George. And so does Trey. You're nodding your head.
100%. That whip needs
Maybe you're nodding your head because Norman's pushing your head up and down. All right. There's our website. There's our email. There's our fax number. Back with more OTR in a moment. All right, and let me tell you something else that's going on our website. We had an exclusive one-on-one interview with Jacques Villeneuve, the great Formula One driver. We asked him 5 questions. You can see his answers, including, hey, Jacques, where do you like to party? tsn.ca/OTR. Check us out there. All right, let's find out what these great guests were up to. This was a terrific show today. Jody, what's going on with you? Off-season for you guys, you and Conrad, right?
Yep, I'm actually just taking it easy for once. Actually just a little celebrating a little Christmas cheer for once. You know, no volleyball to say.
When does the season begin for you guys?
The middle of June. So it's the longest off-season we've ever had.
And I was sitting here feeling like, sorry, God, the guy worked so hard. Middle of June!
I know.
That's like a half year!
That normally doesn't happen. Conrad went down to Brazil last week on his own with a different partner, and I set this one out for the first time ever.
He's cheating on you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of when he's not cheating, Conrad's getting married. Conrad Lineman, guest on this show to Jane Roos. Congratulations to him. All right. Norma.
I'm translating a book of Shakespearean poems called To Scrap or Not to Scrap for the Everyman.
I knew she was all about
Trey,
Shakespeare. I knew it. I called it right off the bat.
Outside of the time when you're translating, what's up with you, Norma Wick?
Well, I'll be tutoring Trey, of course, so he can get through the book. And then I'll be hosting WTSN Connects at 10:30
And when can we
Eastern.
see that?
Wednesday nights, 10:30 Eastern.
Great.
Yeah.
You know what? It's great having you on the show. Seriously, I challenge anyone to come on the show and challenge Norma Wick. You're one of the best. Joey, great meeting you, and great job on the show. This is, I guess, a small off-season for you in your caddying.
Yeah, we start in January in Hawaii. About the second week of January.
Are you going to caddy as well for Tripp Eisenhower again this year?
Yeah, I believe so.
Right
now. And as far as selling, I'm actually looking for a sponsorship this year. And I can put the logos on my hat or on my golf shirt.
Right.
And
how do people get in touch with you?
I got a phone number.
Okay. Let's hear it.
416-989-5001.
Right. So that gets you on the PGA Tour, right?
Yep.
Good to have you on the show. You were carrying this guy's bag all through the show.
Yeah.
Trey, what's going on with you?
Well, we're going to have drinks afterwards, and we're going to talk sports without 4 producers feeding her in a teleprompter. See what she really knows.
Well,
thank you.
They feed you, but, you know, well.
Thank you.
It's a reading thing again.
All right, no, okay, this is the thing. The Lofters year is wrapping up. I'd love to give thanks to Fee, Lily, and Zev, the founders of UATV, for giving me the opportunity to be part of an amazing project. And I'm continuing my acting career, so film producers alike and everyone out there, you want me in your movie? Newton Landry Management, call it. And, you know, I'm ready to be a superstar.
You know what I got to say? I watch you in the loft, and I didn't know much about you, but one of the great things about our show is you get to see different dimensions to guys if they have them. Yeah. Well, you're nodding your head like I'm giving you a compliment. Maybe I'm going to say you didn't have any.
No.
Yeah, that's right, Michael. No, it's great meeting you and great having you on the show. And you know what? I'm getting the count in my ear which says only 10 seconds left to go on the show. So I got to say to the four of you, I hope everybody comes back and does the show again. We do this 5 days a week. Join us tomorrow, won't you? For Off the Record. We'll see you next time.
Off the Record with Michael Landsberg is brought to you by the Cake Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks, good friends. See you tonight.
Yeah. All right.
Michael Landsberg's wardrobe supplied by Grafton & Company. Get it at Grafton.
I was going to, I started to do the...
Yeah, okay. The crazy talk.